friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video I am going to be working in my Cocoa Daisy Traveler's Notebook, working on the next 3 spreads for my Zoo Visits 2021 album. So if you have not seen my unboxing or my first process video putting together the title page, the inside title page, and then the first 2 spreads here, I'll make sure to leave links to those down in the description as well as up at the eye, so you can check those out if you would like. Today we are going to be working on the next 3 spreads. So I have one that's going to be dedicated to our visit in March. I have a spread that's going to be dedicated to the first 3 months of the year and all of the animals that we had seen. And then one more, which is documenting our visit in April. And then once we have the April spread done, we haven't actually gone yet for May. So the continuous spreads in here, the next ones to come, are going to happen as we actually go and visit. So for now, I'm just playing catch up. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward while I get these next 3 spreads assembled. And then once I have everything done, I will slow down and finish out our video for today. So let's go ahead and dive right in. For my first spread today, we are going to be working on documenting the visit that our family took to the zoo in March, in March of 2021. So for this one, I have printed 3 photos that I wanted to use for my spread. Again, I'm finding that I'm doing a lot of grid type of layouts with my photos for a couple of reasons. One, I love grids. I love the way that they look. They're so aesthetically pleasing to me. And then also, I love being able to use more than one photo to document the specific trip. And since I only have one spread per trip to the zoo, it's more than likely that I'm going to have more than one image that I want to include. So this time I have 3. 2 of them are from when we visited the aviary, which was the first indoor sort of attraction or what do I want to say? Indoor enclosure, I suppose, that was open. So our zoo now has maybe 3 areas open that you can go into inside. But this trip in March, the aviary was the very first one. So we were super excited to be able to go inside to see all the birds. And after having a couple of months of only being able to see, the same handful of animals outside, since it's been cold, it was really exciting for our kids to go into a building and then to spot all of the different birds, especially because they have some exotic ones that are, like pink or a really bright blue. And it was fun to be able to go in there and point those out as we were walking. Also, we got to warm up a little bit, and, that's always a bonus as well. So for the right side of this page, what I did is I took one of the backing sheets for one of the embellishments. I don't know which one it was specifically, but one of them they all come with this really nice pattern on the back side that correlates with the kit itself. So I kept all the backings, and I plan to use them in this way to create some extra pattern paper or cards that I can add text to and that sort of thing. So I trimmed this one down, and I'm going to stick it directly onto the paper and cover up the sentiments that were there in the middle. There's nothing wrong with the sentiments in the middle. It just, the colors weren't quite right for what I wanted this to look like. And then also I wanted the opportunity to add words onto this page. So I'm very much about journaling. And so there can't possibly be a page without a million words on it. Although this is probably the least amount you're going to get is for here. So once I have that sort of positioned where I wanted it to go, I grabbed those rub-on stickers that came in the main kit, and I am using them to add a little bit more decoration to the page itself, more so than just the plain teal color. And I like the way that it helps to frame the text itself, and then also to make it not quite as flat, or I guess to give it a little bit more interest than it would have otherwise. So we've got the 2 on there, and then you can see on the card that I have the text on that there is a section up at the top where I can add one of these chipboard pieces as a title. I chose to go with the orange title here because I like that it pops off of the page. I had originally thought about using the white one that says observations from today, but it just felt like too much white all in one spot. So I decide against that and I go for the orange instead. Now for this one of the things that I really like about the photos is there's one of my husband and the kids from the aviary, and he's pointing up for them to look at birds that were up at the up in the sky. And then it also points your eye up to the picture above it. And then in the picture above it, I am pointing to if I'm looking here, I'm pointing to the left of me, but really to the right side of this spread. And so it looks like the photos are telling you to look up and then look over. And I thought that was really fun to give this visual direction. Our picture taking wasn't intentional for that, but when I chose where I wanted everything to sit on the page, I did intentionally think about that. And then I have one additional photo on here that is of the tigers coming over to say hi to the kids. Honestly, they were probably coming over to salivate for lunch, but we're going to say that they were just coming over to say hi to us because they were right there. And, it's really fun to get up and close with them. They are just the most beautiful animal. To finish off the left side of the spread, I grabbed one more of those rub-on sticker leaves. I'm adding it next to my title. So now we've got 3 leaves on here. And then I also added a die cut that says something about a journey, like this is our journey. It's something along those lines. And then I called that spread done. So now we're moving on to the second one. Now, this spread is going to be a quarterly recap, and that is how I'm structuring this book. So we're going to go month 1, 2, 3, so January, February, March, and then a quarterly recap, and then April, May, June, and then a quarterly recap, and so on and so on. And the quarterly recaps for me are a place where I can specifically put pictures of the animals as we have taken them, as we have seen them. Because a lot of the spreads themselves are going to be pictures of us in the zoo environment, and that's intentional as well, because I really wanted to focus on us and the way we are interacting with this place that we love so much. So by having these quarterly recap type of pages, it also gives me a place where I can put my photos of the animals themselves. For the right side of the spread, I added journaling, talking about the context of seeing all 5 of the animals this winter and the special experiences, quote unquote, that we had with all of them. To mark the stories, I used my day in the life number stamp from Allie Edwards along with the green, I think it's guacamole maybe, ink from Paper Person. And it's a beautiful, beautiful ink. I love. I'm really glad that I got all of those because I love them. Then for the title, I took a piece of the washi tape, that grid washi tape. I put it up at the top and just did some ripped it so that it has a little bit of texture there at the edge, and then added the noted die cut along with 2 additional chipboard pieces, an arrow and a heart. I put the heart up there specifically because I wanted to bring some of that peachy orangish color up to or over to the right side of the spread as well, since it's covering all of the left side. For each of the 5 photos, there were these little banner die cuts that had the numbers 1 through 5. So that was perfect for adding into the upper left-hand corner of all 5 of those. And then there were also a selection of, what do I want to call them? They're like gems, but they're not. They are enamel dots. That's what they are, enamel dots. And there were some that were itty bitty 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 tiny ones. So I used those and I put them at the top of those banners almost to seem like they were pinned on there. I thought that gave it a little bit of interesting texture, but then also brought some of the green color over onto the left side of the page. I'm going to use my double-sided adhesive to go ahead and attach all of this into the book. I like the way that double-sided adhesive is super strong, so I don't have to worry about things falling off at any point in time. And then for the photos on the left, I'm going to start in the middle with the number 3 and then work my way up to the top and down to the bottom. That's just going to help me with my spacing, making sure that everything stays pretty centered, and then also making sure that the space in between the photos also stays fairly consistent. So I think that that all looks really nice. And then once I get all of those photos on here, this spread is going to be done, and we'll move on to my third and final spread for today. So this one is going to document our trip that we just took. Actually, I am recording this on a Saturday, and I just took the kids this past Tuesday. So it was 5 days ago that we went for April. And we squeezed it in right at the end of April. I actually took the kids by myself because we ran out of time to be able to go as a whole family. And Aaron couldn't get off of work. So he stayed at home and worked. And then I took the kids on basically like a day field trip to the zoo. Just the 3 of us. And the nice thing about it is it ended up being a beautiful day. It was 80 degrees, which it hasn't been 80 degrees here in quite some time, and sunny, and just a beautiful day to get out of the house and be together. So again, I chose to go with a grid-like spread for my photo page. So I have 3 photos, 3 of my favorite photos on the left side. And then I printed one more that I super loved. This time for this visit, the amphibian house was open. So slowly things are beginning to open. And so I took the kids in there and they loved it. They had a ball trying to find all of the toads and frogs and salamanders and fish and all of that. They just loved it. So they were peering into a tank of sunfish, which is funny because those are probably the least exciting thing in that entire house, but they were most excited about the fish. And I got a picture of the 2 of them like looking into the fish tank together, and it was just the sweetest thing. So what I'm planning to do with this one is I took that photo and I adhered it onto the back side of a journaling block, which before I did that, I stuck a tab up at the top of the journaling and then attached it with my tiny attacher, then went ahead and adhered the photo to the back side of the journaling. So that's going to create a pull-out tag or a pull-out photo that's going to go on the right side. Then I pulled over some vellum in addition to one of the Traveler's Notebook sized papers that came in the kit. It's this green and peachy colored plaid. I loved the color of this because there's a lot of green in the photos, and then my daughter is wearing a peachy colored shirt. So it matches perfectly the colors in my photos. It was meant to be. It was meant to go on this spread. Once I have the pocket stitched on there, I did 3 of the 4 sides. Then I went ahead and added my adhesive to the back side. You can see how this is going to look when I get the journaling down inside the pocket. And then I'm going to add just a couple of die cuts on here as well. So I've got this green one that says, here's the story, or something along those lines. And then I've also got this yellow one that says, I love sunny days, or so much love for sunny days, something like that. So we are going to remove the backing, stick this over on the right side of the spread, and then I'm going to decide on the photo, so I'll pull it out. I'm going to decide on the photo that I actually want to add some additional die cuts. There just seems like a lot of blank space there at the bottom. So I find this one that's got a little bit more of those peachy tones in it that says love grows here. And then I'm also going to grab out a black one that says let's root for each other. And these 2 die cuts don't make like a ton of sense with my photo, but I love the way that the colors look, and honestly, I mean, they can work. So let's root for each other, or or whatever that says, and then love grows here. Sure, it makes sense in my head at least. So the last thing I'm going to do for this one is to locate a couple of tiny phrase stickers that I can add up on top of the tab just to make that feel a little bit more intentional. I believe I'm going to find one that says something like explore or adventure. That's really what I was looking for in all of these. And I knew I wanted one that was white with black text because I've got, you know, the back side of that is white. And then I have one on the back side. I don't even know what it says, but it was something that made sense to me. And then that is going to do it for this one. All right, friends, that finishes my spreads in this traveler's notebook for today. So we've got all three of them here. The March visit page here, which ended up being fairly simple with just a couple of those rub-on elements, the journaling over here, and then a grid of my photos. Then I've got the Q1 wrap up for all of the animals that we saw January through March with a little bit of added details for each of them, and then the numbers that correspond to the photos on the left side. And then the last page is from the visit that we just had here in the month of April, which is when I'm recording this video. So I've got a grid over here of the photos. I ended up doing that a lot, just as a side note, in this album because I'm ending up with a lot more photos that I want to include. And so it works really well for me to just go ahead and create a grid with them. This one, I ended up with 4 total. And then I've got my journaling here on this little pull out card. So I can have it where the journaling is showing, or I can have it where the photo is showing. So either way works really well in this album. I'm loving this. I'm loving the way that this is coming together, and it makes me feel really good to get these memories documented in this little book. So hopefully we'll be able to finish up the rest of the year as the year goes, and then this might be the first of many of these completed albums, hopefully for the future. All right, friends. Well, if you enjoyed seeing how these spreads came together, I would love a thumbs up down below, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my future crafty videos. I will be back with some additional content this week, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. And then in regards to this album, I will be back periodically, probably about once a month, to go ahead and work on the next spread in this book. So you'll be able to still follow along on our zoo adventures. It will just be one spread at a time instead of, 3 or more. So that's how we're going to roll with this. All right, so until next time, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, friends.